I'm Olivia Clementine, and this is Love and Liberation. Today, our guest is Choying Khandro. Choying holds the complete transmissions of two lineages, the Ganden Ensa ear whispered lineage and the Machik Dakini ear whispered lineage from her teacher, the late 9th Kalka Jetsun Dampa. She brings more than 3 decades of intense study and practice to her teachings and has completed a number of personal retreats, including the traditional 108 Springs Retreat in the Mongolian wilderness, and a 3.5-year solitary retreat in the forests of Oregon. She has degrees in Oriental philosophy and in Buddhist studies. Choying Khandro is the spiritual director of the Dakinis Whisper, a community for the Machik Dakini ear whispered lineage. Her interest centers on bringing ancient timeless wisdom to our direct experience in the modern world. I want to thank you again, Khandro, for being here. You have a new book that just landed this year called Dakini Journey in the Contemporary World, The Heart of Ch, Volume 2. And so we'll be really delving into this today, which I'm very much looking forward to. We'll be speaking about Dakini this entire time. So often the term is misunderstood. So can you offer some illumination on who and what is Dakini? We'll start there.
Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much, Olivia, having me again. Your questions are important ones and fully explored in this book. You can say I spent 400 pages answering questions of this nature. First of all, I want to say. So it's very hard to define Dakini, as you know. Dakini is an expression of Buddha nature. That is who and what you are. So ultimately, the nature of Dakini is beyond gender. Characteristics, any elaborations, or concept. And she's like a boundless, cloudless sky. That's the ultimate nature of Dakini. Relatively, Dakini expresses herself in many physical forms, not necessarily in a female form, sometimes as your teacher in a male form, as well as in a female form. You may meet her in a vision, or in a physical world, in a dream. So in my book, in the chapter 3 called Meeting Her Many Faces, I explore the multidimensionality and various flavors of dakinis. In that chapter, I also refer to the relationship between the outer, inner, and the secret dakini. A little bit technical terms, all these terms are, but as all in one, one in all. These are the 3 dimensions of dakini. If one dimension is realized, all are realized, you can say. So these 3 dimensions, in a nutshell, if Dakini appears in a physical form, she is called the outer Dakini. If she appears in a dream, a vision, or in a subtle body, she is called the inner Dakini. And if the subtlest dimension of her is veiled or revealed, or realized, she's called a secret dakinis. We can say lots more about that. But the purpose of the dakini practice is to unveil the subtlest dimension of dakini, the subtlest mind. Again, this could be a technical term, ecstatic or innate, connate, great bliss that realizes emptiness In other words, the subtlest mind. So in order for that mind to dawn or unveil, we do a practice. Dakini practice. Specifically, this practice called mixing or the merging, or mixing the three messenger dakinis. So first we invite the outer dakini and mix her with the inner dakini in your subtle body. As a result, the secret dakini dawns in your experience as a realization of great bliss. I was talking about great bliss inseparable from emptiness. By relying on this outer dakini and meditating on inner dakini, we meet the secret dakini, right? Then it says that once we have met the secret dakini, we will attain full awakening with this body before death. So the outer dakini is like our assistant. Inner dakini is actual method to be penetrated. And the secret dakinis are the fruits of attainment. So this feels very conceptual at this point without bringing it into our own experience. The audience might be thinking, huh? So if you like, at the end of the interview, and I can do a short meditation for the audience to integrate what I'm talking about here, how these three dimensions of dakinis interface in a more experiential way. Or we can do a short meditation called What's My Relationship to Dakini? I always like to embody the meditation to bring the whatever we are talking about to our own direct experience. So this question was a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. How can we feel that we're not speaking of something so distant and impossible? As you said, how can we directly experience these skygoers who come to us from the Tibetan tradition?
Oh my gosh, another enticing question. So one of the things I wanted to do in my book is to demystify Dakini, while understanding and honoring the ambiguity and the mystical aspect of Dakini. So Dakini is everywhere, in a sense. Not yet nowhere if we don't recognize her. So then we examine how we can feel or experience Dakini at this moment in this world. For example, you and me right now. How can we examine, how can we feel or experience Dakinis at this moment? And consider that each individual, like you and me, can meet Dakini by having a direct experiences of her through various, you can say, doors or modalities, such as sense doors. We have 5 sense doors and consciousness and subtle body, each of us have, and 5 elements, which each of us consist of. So those things are explored in here, how we can access to Dakinis as an individual, just a normal person. How can we directly experience these skygoers, these Dakini? So to answer this question, I'd like to read a few paragraphs from my book, if you don't mind. That okay?
Yes, it's okay.
So the answer may be deceptively simple. They are already within us. Their hidden quality is there to be unveiled by us. Dakini is always pointing this out to us if we open our eyes to the moon itself instead of the finger that is pointing to the moon. It is through our practice and direct experience that we recognize, uncover, evoke, and become her. This Dakini journey is an invitation from her and to her, and wake up to Dakini within. By encountering Dakini face to face, we will discover a shocking fact. She's our own mind. She's nothing other than that. With our deep longing for her, in fact, we may find that she has always been with us in every circumstance. She expresses herself through us while she's never found anywhere. See if this will be your direct experience. See if this koan will open you up, unveiling Dakini's own face to you. I love this one Vajrayogini practitioner named Chöying. His poem, he said, "Despite the endless search for you, noble lady, I found no certainty of your true existence." So he searched, wandered everywhere, longing to meet her, meet the divine Dakini. With this deep yearning to meet her, he practiced his entire life. Then he said, "But at last, my mind's youth, weary of its fantasies, found relief in the forest hut of the ineffable." Through his sincere, single-pointed practice, he finally reached her. He came to realize her true nature, indivisible bliss and emptiness. The great master of Dakini Chöying touched her and became one with her, even as or because he found no certainty in her existence. When we realize we cannot find her at all, we find her. Perhaps in this search for Dakini, there is really no goal or destination, only the ever-fresh unfolding journey of now, from moment to surprising moment. Still, we can look for Dakinis, we can pray with her, and we can talk about her. Empty yet appear. So we can talk more about that paradox, Dakini as an expression of paradox and pointing us to that direction.
These elements that are personified as the five dakinis help us see our wisdom essence. Like, why is it that doing these particular practices of the dakinis as the five elements helps us have realization? Like, what is the skillful means there?
So, five dakini practice, so-called, in Tibetan traditions, I presented from the point of or lens of the five elements. So elemental approach makes the five dakini practices so experiential, embodied, integrative, or accessible to us, and effective. So I made a decision to present the five dakini practice, lineage practice we have in the Ear Whisper lineage in this way. So first of all, five dakinis are actually, you are very familiar with five dakinis, no, Olivia?
Yeah.
So-called five awareness wisdoms, or because five dakinis are awakened expression of our true nature. or the 5 wisdoms. So by relying to or relating to the 5 dakinis through practice, such as those in our lineage, 5 dakini practice, we can start to connect to each dakini and how wisdom awareness, elemental aspect, and energy, so forth, etc. So through our relationship with the dakini, we slowly begin to unveil our own 5 kind of wisdom, and eventually embody each dakini. Then we don't stop there. Then we can perform awakened activities each dakini embodies in the world to assist all beings. Yeah, so 5 dakini is a embodiment of each element. So that's a big part of this presentation of this book, elemental approach. Everything is made of element. Everything is made of element, and everything internal, external. And then we started to realize or recognize there's no border in where's inside, outside. So related. So this elemental approach is nothing new in a sense that like Buddhism does not own the 5 elemental teaching. Yeah, way before Buddhism or the other tradition hold these kind of elemental approaches. But somehow when Buddhism present in relation to 5 families, then became a little more solidified, I felt. So I just brought the 5 element aspect, more experiential aspect. So each of us can experience directly and embody the 5 dakinis in this way as the energies.
So we're creating the ground here in our conversation of some really fundamental aspects to Dakini, and another one is the charnel ground as the home of the Dakini. What is so significant of the charnel ground being the home where the Dakini abides?
So let me start with the quote from the book. I think charnel ground is a significant, important component in the Dakini teachings. So Mandalava said, a frightful environment such as this is the catalyst for practitioners' true practice to emerge. Adverse conditions are the true wealth of a practitioner. A frightful or frightening, uncomfortable place is the knife that severs discursive thought. So the charnel ground is a symbol of everything we reject or that we don't want to relate to or approach. Disgusting, terrifying, and fear-provoking, all our blind spots, escape mechanism, and the shadow are radically exposed. So going to the charnel ground and sitting there is completely contrary to our habitual patterns, right? Opposite to our habitual patterns. So one of the aims of the tantric Dakini practice is to recognize or subdue or vanquish the habitual patterns, ordinary way of looking at things. For how we perceive, react to, and transform these ordinary habitual views or appearance into a sacred outlook. So the charnel ground is the place where that takes place. Charnel ground is a home or abode of dakinis. a sacred outlook, maybe not many people or some people may not be familiar with, is the ability to see the sacredness in everything that's going on in whatever experience we have. Prefer, unprefer, ugly, or disgusting, and in whatever activity we do. So in that sense, the channel ground is a practice environment. I call the dojo, a training ground for tantric practitioners. So it is literally the home of the dakini, who can assist us in this radical transformation of realizing emptiness and seeing the way things actually exist. Dakini practitioners have to enter the channel ground and then bring the channel ground into our own experience. So the channel ground is an important metaphor in Dakini journey, on our journey. Ground. Channel ground is different from the cremation ground. Channel ground is a place next to the cremation ground. Just the bodies are abandoned. So fearful place. All the animals, vicious animals come at night, and very dangerous place. That's the least place you want to go. Yeah, so metaphor at the same time, originally it was a literal. As a modern contemporary practitioner, what that channel ground feels like in our own experience, like an internal channel ground. I was just talking about this blind spot, or the place that scare us, or place that we don't want to go. We can inquire ourselves. Am I avoiding? And then dakini are the one who can guide us and cut through this our own projections, habitual patterns, on the confusion and the fear. All these things need to be severed. She carries a chop knife or carved knife to chop our concept.
Thank you, Khandro. One thing I feel grateful for the Dakini is her ability to help us during hard and uncertain times. And how do we work with the hard and uncertain times as the path? Like, rather than once it gets better, then I'm going to practice, or then there's more possibility for my awakenment and the world to be a better place. Will you speak about this? I feel like this is very important.
Yeah, very important. So these hard and uncertain times are exactly when Dakini appears and help us transform the path into freedom and awakening. So Olivia, so this is the outcome. This book is the outcome of the last difficult time. Couple of years we have faced difficult time, pandemics and other environmental challenges we faced. Then I started on dakinis. So dakini is a very timely teaching, and this is the time dakini appears and help us. For example, Magic Clapton, female 12th century Tibetan female yoginis, dakinis, in this case awakened dakinis. So her prayers tells us how to meet dakinis in these difficult times. I love these 4 lines when we chant all the time in Cho practice. Bless me that I turn negative conditions to the path. Bless me that the adversities shine as aid. Bless me that I cut through the root of confusion. bless me that I realize the unborn nature of my mind. So I love this. Bless me that adversity shine as age. So Dakini teaches all these radical teaching. Olivia, would you like to say anything about this?
No, I wanted to make sure you had nothing else you had to say.
So how we can bring Dakini teaching onto our difficult time?
If we're even referring to the charnel ground, it's really seeing it as the place. Like there's actually no other place we're meant to be. When things are hard, the resistance to the experience is what actually creates so much of the suffering itself. And it feels like what you're sharing here too, this invitation rather than aversion is the path. And also ultimately to see its essence.
So welcoming whatever arises and rest in the nature and see through the true nature of that difficult emotion, for example. This escape mechanism that won't work. Actually, that's the cause of suffering, as you said. So Dakini gives us a really courage. This Dakini practice helps us to build the ability to rest in whatever arises, however difficult or unpreferred appearances or circumstances arises. So give us a lot of hope, and it's difficult. Never said easy, but it's difficult, but it's worthwhile. And also, this is the approach in modern practitioners should take. Because we cannot, so difficult to change the circumstances, right? Those challenges falling onto us moment to moment. So then what we can do is this, we're transforming our own mind and facing challenges. One of the main functions of Dakini is to watch over, to assist practitioners. So always side of us and assist us and guide us and give us power. So that's very encouraging and hopeful. So this Dakini journey is a Dakini journey with Dakini and also as Dakinis, or toward the home of Dakini. That is who and what we truly are, you can say.
We hear many stories of practitioners leaning on Dakinis for guidance, like what you were just saying about the Dakini as a protector and also as a guide. And in your book, you speak about this emotional and spiritual maturity that's really needed to make connection with Dakini wisdom. Will you speak about emotional and spiritual maturity and also what blocks our maturity?
So one way to say it, there are many ways to talk about this maturity business, spiritual and human maturities. But one way to say it, it's based on our tradition. Lama Tsongkhapa, that's in our tradition, talks about the three convictions of the three confidence that tantric practitioners, I would say Dakini practitioner, need to have on their journey. So the first one is a spontaneous, heartfelt trust or confidence or conviction in Dakini teaching. So that's like when you hear Dakini teaching or even the word Dakini, some heart kind of moved or stirred. So that's sort of conviction or confidence or the trust, heartfelt trust Dakini practitioner has. That's you can say the one maturity. Then the second conviction or faith is the one such who is presenting that, or who authentically holds the teaching and they share them with the students, like lamas or the teachers. So conviction or faith in the one who hold that Dakini teachings. And then last but not least, you need to have a conviction. What do you think? Third one, conviction in your own capacity to make this Dakini journey. This is the most challenging and most often missed. Lack of these three convictions blocks our spiritual maturity. That's one way to say it. Maybe if I answer to your question. Yeah. So another was trust in our Buddha nature. Do we have? Yeah, that's the challenging part as well, especially in the West. We have lots of baggage. So, but slowly, with the help of Dakini and our own practice, confidence in our own capacity to make this journey complete, built up.
So the body and subtle body and working with energy is essential when you speak of the Dakini and the tantric path. And you certainly teach a lot on this personally. Can you share what the subtle body is and what is meant by energy and in this context, and how we can find more relationship with these aspects of us?
Okay. Subtle body. Right now, feel into your body. Feel, Olivia or audience. Just take a moment to feel. Subtle body is a feeling body, energy body. You are already accessing that. Nothing mystical about, in a sense. Cannot see maybe with the naked eyes, but subtle body is a bridge, the important one. This is the access point, you can say. The bridge between the physical body and the subtlest body of the wind and the mind. So it is a level we walk with to connect to the subtlest dimension. That is who and what we are. The subtle body consists of the psychic channels, energy wind called prana, and the essential energy drop called bindu, tikre. Bit technical, but in other words, subtle body, each of us have this. So this is, all these are very precious. I'm not going to this teaching on this, but very important. So in other words, each of us has a treasure. You are the treasure bars. So your body consists of all these important components. So you asked about energy. For the lack of better translation of prana. Rung in Tibetan, prana in Sanskrit. When we use it in a subtle body context. This practice of working with the subtle body to connect to the subtlest body is called the yoga of wind, sarun nenjo, which is the main practice in the tantric so-called completion phase. So did you ask how do we find more of a relationship with this aspect to ourselves?
Yes.
And the subtle body, feeling body, right? Just we connect it, energy body. The more we can feel or sense our own body without judgment, the more we can have a relationship with the subtle or subtlest dimension of the body. So in the subtle body training, we are doing we are connecting, trying to connect to this level of body. Yeah, all are related, right? Physical body, the subtle body, and the subtlest body, which is a consists of the subtlest wind and the mind. So all are related, but we are really focusing on the subtle body. So that's the kind of point to the both dimension of the body.
I wanted to read out loud these two quotations you have from Yeshe Sogyal and Jigme Lingpa from your book. So the first one's from Yeshe Sogyal, a female enlightened being. So the quote is, "To voyage through the sky with this material body, meditate on the subtle channels and inner winds, and gain mastery over your energies and thoughts. Ultimate accomplishment is nothing other than that." And then from Jigme Lingpa, "Unless energy flows freely through the body, the pure light of consciousness will remain obscured. So take these physical practices to heart."
So all these great masters, awake masters, are telling us the importance of working with the subtle body. So this is crucial to unveil the true nature of who and what we are. So in that sense, Dakini helps us. Dakini, one dimension of Dakini is a subtle body. Inner Dakini is a subtle body. So in other words, each of us has Dakini residing in each of us. They assist us, bless our channels and energy wind and the tickle and energy drops. So it's necessary to make a connection, the relationship to Dakinis, so that Dakini can help us to open up all the channels and so forth. So that the ultimate subtlest mind unveil, like a flowers open up.
How does the practice of the Dakini help us experience the non-duality of the sacred and ordinary, or the absolute and relative? We're kind of talking about it in all kinds of ways already, but just we'll get to the center of this piece.
And this maybe came back to the beginning, like a paradox I was kind of talking about. So let's start with the quote again. I love this Dakini quote. Let's see. Dakini Brazen One, that's the name of the Dakini. Brazen One, an Indian Dakini, sing a celebration of this paradox, Dakini paradox. Looking but not seeing, that's my eye. Thinking but not minding, that's my mind. Speaking but not expressing, that's my tongue. Traveling but not going, that's my path. So we come back to this koan, Dakini as a paradox of reality. We kind of touched on the etymology of the Tibetan rendering of the word itself denote this, and kandoma or kachoma in Tibetan. It's translated in English, sky goer or sky dancer, or woman who moves and engages actively within the boundless space of emptiness, perfectly holding the two poles of the mundane and the sacred, or the relative and the ultimate. Like sky is a complete emptiness. Like when actively engaged, or the moves, or goes or dances, that's Dakini. So Dakini does nothing, while she does everything. without moving an inch from the realization of emptiness in the vast expanse of totality. She wholeheartedly acts in the world of conditioning, while never steering from the realization of the wisdom of emptiness. Right. So within the essence of emptiness, Dakini manifests in various forms in the world of suffering and conflict accordingly, oftentimes fiercely and provocatively. Appearances unimpededly arises in the domain of this absolute expanse of totality. Her action always arises from spontaneous great compassion and enduring wakefulness. So you can say, kind of summarizing, Dakini is awakened lady who is the activity aspect of the awakened mind, this innate wakefulness called Buddha nature, inherent in each of us, regardless of gender or appearance. She is both awake knowingness and the play of knowingness. Play, play of knowingness with its creative expression. Although we move with her in her mysterious, birthless, and ceaseless life, it is hard to find her and touch her, since she is elusive, not abiding in obvious places. So we have to see the not so obvious places. We cannot find her in obvious places.
What would you consider an obvious place?
So instead of turning our eyes to the outside of ourselves, then looking into ourselves. Maybe we didn't talk much about the subjectivities. I feel very important in terms of meeting her or recognizing her. So you asked the question a little bit about. So how can we recognize Dakini? Naropa advised another quote. Look into the mirror of the mind, the mysterious home of the Dakini. As we know, Dakini doesn't live in the usual or obvious places as we assume she might. She is hidden, ambiguous, elusive, and elusive in nature, living in a thing or subtle place where we often miss the opportunity to meet her. So we talked about charnel gland. So that's the one. It's that charnel gland part of ourselves that we don't want to see. We have this blind spot, this fear block, invoking vulnerabilities, shadow. So Dakini is so intimate with our subjectivities that if we are genuinely curious about meeting her, we have no choice but to turn our attention to our own meditative practice. So that's kind of a nutshell how to recognize dakinis. In other words, we need to develop the eyes, our own eyes, which has a capacity to see dakinis. Dakini is everywhere, but nowhere unless we have a dakini eyes or the capacity to or be able to see her. In that sense, we have to turn our mind to ourselves, subjectivities. Because Dakini doesn't exist independently or the self-existently, like out there, just as anything else.
the question in response to what you were just sharing, more to your way of practicing these days, because you teach a lot, you're very available in the Dharma world, but you've also done a lot of pilgrimage and retreat. And have you found some way to integrate in-depth practice in the midst of this kind of lifestyle? And I'm sure you have. Or do you feel like one must leave the world for a period to really be able to have those eyes?
I think both. We are not living in ancient, don't have a luxurious time. Back those days, him is retreating into the Himalayan cave or something like that. Actually, we don't need to. We are householders, tantric practitioners, and then so integration is the game, you can say, the work. Make everything into the practice or everything to the Dharma path, whatever arises in our daily life. Having said that, certain period of time and retreat is intensive retreat is very important. So integration is important, day-to-day basis, important, but also certain period of time, kind of retreating from the daily busy, active lifestyle to devote oneself into the actualization of bodhicitta. And then once they come out of that short period of time retreat and become kind of rejuvenated or enriched, and then so those are kind of important, I feel, both. Every place is a dojo, training place, right? So if you have a workplace is a place for your training. But then you have to train your mind on the cushion first. Then off the cushion, then the kind of back and forth and back and forth. Then certain time, retreat. Yeah, devoting oneself, retreat is important.
And
how, Olivia, you are doing retreat?
I've done some retreat this year, yes.
In the connection to Dakini, that's that sort of a long-term intensive practice retreat. That's the place or that's the time when you meet Dakini or Dakini show up in many various ways. Maybe gives you a lot of challenges, or maybe assist you or guide you or bring some blessings. So, yeah. So that's important in terms of Dakini practice as well. Intense practice.
And you're offering a new path, a 16-month online course in September. It's called Dakini Path of Vajrayogini. That's also connected to the Vajrayogini highest yoga tantra empowerment. Do you want to speak first of all about Vajrayogini and about this course?
Speaks about Vajrayoginis. Wow. First of all, thank you for asking. So in our tradition, our great lamas of the past kept Vajrayogini so secret, holy and private. They hesitate to even utter the name of their personal idam to others, and actually refers to her as the one whose name I cannot say in public. So Vajrayogini is one of the 13 golden dharmas that has been treasured in the Sakya traditions originally, and was kept in a locked room before it was transmitted to the Geru masters. So I'm just saying Vajrayogini practice traditionally very holy and ancient and special. So rooted in the ancient wisdom of masters in the past, it's tremendously beneficial to our modern world. While she is such a special tantric deities geared toward selected advanced so-called practitioners, she is especially well suited for our contemporary culture dominated by strong desire, confusion, and delusions, and this challenging time. So Vajrayogini is a deity for this time. Then, His Holiness Dalai Lama talks about the importance of presenting authentic tantric teachings, because now tantric teaching is available everywhere. If you Google it, you can find some kind of information regardless of its correct, right information or not. So since there are so many misunderstood or confused one available, so it's important to present it, authentically. So that's His Holiness' stand in terms of tantric teaching. So considering her wise advice, so I made a decision to offer Vajrayogini empowerment online to the public. Of course, there are some qualification and prerequisite. So there are 2 ways to receive, or maybe 3 ways to receive this empowerment, this particular empowerment. We made a decision to do that as a blessing only, without commitment, and engaging to receive empowerment and engage in tantric commitments. That's number 2. Then third one is that receive empowerment and engage in commitment and join this Dakini path that follows. So in terms of Dakini path, that is a 16-month online course, and it is a deep exploration of Vajrayogini practice. Both of these, offering empowerment and online course, are open to those who resonate with this profound path of Vajrayogini and are ready to dive into this practice, or somebody who wants to receive it as a practice, receive it as a blessing. Mm-hmm. We will explore traditional Vajrayogini practice through the lens of Dakini journey. That is quite challenging, but more experiential, I would say. Traditional Vajrayogini practice was explained or commented from the lens of the 11 yoga. It's called the 11 steps, 11 yogas. So now I would like to explore Vajrayogini sadhana and practice through the lens of Dakini journey. So each of us tread the unique Dakini journey through Vajrayogini practice. So no doubt each individual will blossom as they personally navigate the Dakini path. I'm hoping, including myself.
I hope many people go and take a look if they're inspired, and even just to read about it if they're unclear of all the details, everything that it entails. Is there anything else you want to share, Khandro?
From the book about the Dakini journey, but I just want to make sure Dakini journey does not self-existent. The Dakini journey has been an invitation to live and dance our own Dakini dance with compassion and emptiness, 2 sides of the same coin. It's an invitation to discover our own compassionate, colorful dance as Dakini within the boundless expanse of sky. We have seen this beautiful and harmonious union in Dakini, the dancer of paradox. As our Dakini eyes have opened, it may feel like our journey as Dakini in the world of joy and sorrow, passion and horror, passion and horror has just begun. But having felt the awakened qualities of Dakini, such as softness, tenderness, richness, spontaneity, courage, confidence, fearlessness, and ferocity within, we are now ready to integrate, embody, express, and celebrate Dakini in the world. It's time to fully show our Dakini selves to the world. Let's take a moment to connect to the channel ground and feel the energy in the heart. This sphere of light at the heart center. It is brightly shining now. The light filled our entire body. The light of joy, of sweetness, of love. That is who we are. And now we know what to do. We send the light through every pore of our skin into the world, the broken world of unthinkable suffering that beings are facing on this planet. The light goes out in 10 directions. The light of love and healing, removing all the pain from each being and sharing the wisdom we just experienced. We allow the light nectar to go out and heal the world. Our heart are so open now that we cannot help but share. We slowly gather the light nectar to return it back to our body, to the core of our body, into the central channel, our heart center, and then we rest for a few moments. The words of this poem by L.R. Knotts express Dakini's confidence in us, our confidence in our own Buddha nature. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they said, but with intention. So now with the intention of bodhicitta, she adds, so go, love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally the broken world waits in darkness for the light. That is you.